You're listening to the Ask DroneU podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
DroneU.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another awesome episode of Ask DroneU. My name is Paul.
And I'm Rob, and you're listening to episode number 368. We're pretty sure about that.
Yes, we are sure. And I know that because I made a mistake in the numbering of the episodes. Shocker.
Actually, I think somebody else made the mistake, and you were just kind of following along with the original mistake, and so it's actually not your mistake, but it doesn't matter. We are on 368 now, and we're glad that you're with us.
Definitely glad that you're with us. And I'm really excited because the next few episodes, we're going to be hearing a lot about business. You know, now could not be a better time to start your business. $82 billion at stake there, Rob. Are you going to be cashing in on that? Are you going to be cashing in on that?
Yeah, a lot of opportunity. As we've talked about, the floodgates are opening. I'm sure you're all thinking about that, thinking about getting your business going if you haven't already. We know even people in our community that are saying, I'm done doing what I was doing. This is what I've always loved. I'm going to give it a go. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that right now is a great time to be working on your business, not in your business. And a lot of people have difficulty kind of understanding what I'm saying when I say that. But I mean, organizing your business, setting up the systems, the routines, your website, your marketing, everything, to make sure that when you do hit the ground, you hit the ground running.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned, a lot of people entering. And so we are having a little sale.
We are.
DroneU, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Tell us about it, Rob.
It is awesome. So normally there's a monthly cost to DroneU, but we are offering an annual membership with a 25% discount. So if you're interested in joining DroneU, now is the best time we've ever had to do so.
Why would you want to join? It's really simple. Because you want a successful business. Again, thousands of people are going to be jumping in. They're going to be instant pros. You're going to want to know how to separate yourself, how to ensure that you're going to retain business over the long term. It's really a strategic move on your part. So we welcome you to join the premier online training community, DroneU. But I say we move into this question because this is a great business question.
Let's do that. I just want to say, if you have questions about membership, feel free to reach out to us. If you don't want to take the leap without talking to somebody, support@thedroneu.com is a great place to reach out and say, what about this? What about that? What do you guys do here? Happy to answer those questions if that would help you.
Definitely, but I think you should change your voicemail.
My voicemail?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not enough accent in there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like, hello, it's Rob. Nope, no hair today. Leave a message. Bye. Cheers.
Okay. Well, maybe you can do that for me.
No. We'll hire someone from Fiverr to do it, though.
Okay, that's cool.
You've reached the Bold Bureau. They can't do much for you, but they may call you back. Cheers.
And they can't tell you how to grow hair, that's for sure.
That is for sure. All right. Well, today's question is awesome. Let's just get right into it.
Hi, DroneU. This is Rob from the Seattle area, new member of the DroneU community and kind of a drone addict. For those of us who are freelancers who don't have access to a Bald Bureau of our own, do you guys have any recommendations for places or tips for finding those people that we need to help us do our things, such as CPAs? I personally have been a consultant for about 10 years now, and I've had a number of bad CPAs trying to help me that have cost me a lot of money. So looking forward to hearing what your thoughts are. Thanks.
So, Rob, that is a really good question. And just like any industry, there are really good CPAs, and there are some not as good CPAs, and obviously you want to find the good ones. I think he's coming from an interesting perspective, though, Paul, because he said that he's been a consultant for a long time. To me, and I assume that he's been a consultant where he is now, wherever he's living and wherever he's wanting to do this business, I would think that he knows a lot of people.
Yeah, well, you know, there are a lot of people, but in business, you really have to have, it's just like in your relationship, you have to have some inherent level of trust, because if you don't trust those people, especially who are handling your money, and I can totally understand where he's coming from with this, because I'm not a mathematician. I don't do philosophizing.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And
subtraction and division.
That horrible stuff makes your brain hurt.
So
yeah, no, anyways, it is a very big issue. And the thing is, you don't want to have to be worrying about this stuff.
No.
You want to be out doing what you do, which is flying, getting new business, networking, talking to people that are going to help you grow your business, talking to people that you can bring value to so that your business can grow. And most of the time, that does not mean spending a lot of time with your CPA.
Well, another question too is like, at what point do you really need a CPA? I mean, can we get the same outcome with applications like QuickBooks Online, FreshBooks? You know, there are a lot of options now. Even Mint.com will track your finances for you, kind of give you P&Ls and whatnot. So for those of us who are not familiar with CPAs, why would we want to go with a CPA over an app? What do you think are the benefits of each?
Well, number one, I think that getting together with a CPA before you get your business going or as you're getting your business going is really, really important. And the reason for that is they're going to help you set things up. And again, we'll come back to your question, but they're going to help you set things up in the right way in the first place. So that's why, because you don't want to get knee deep into what you've created and then get with somebody and realize you did everything wrong and you're not getting the optimal use of a system that you could be.
So when you say setting up your business properly for the CPA, are you talking about having certain bank accounts set up or a certain amount of money in those accounts? Like, help us understand, like, let's go deeper. I mean, like, what does a good business look like on paper?
Well, number one, a good business has a good accounting system. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this, Paul, in the next podcast, actually, because we're doing a couple of business podcasts here in a row. Somebody asked about LLCs in another question, and we'll get into that later. And I wanted to get into more of those kinds of questions then. But the bottom line is, for example, if you don't figure out the right way to track personal versus business funds from the very beginning and you start to commingle those, that could become a really big issue for you down the road.
Why is that?
Because the IRS in particular isn't going to like so again, we're starting to get into the next podcast, which I really didn't want to do yet. But if you are commingling funds, it's going to make your business look like just sort of an extension of your personal life, which could potentially take away many of the protections that business is designed to set up in the first place. And so you have to be careful of those things and how you commingle money or actually don't commingle money. And a CPA or somebody like a CPA, an accountant, can help you make sure you figure that stuff out up front. Think about things like, should I use cash basis accounting or accrual basis accounting? 99% of you guys are going to want to use cash basis. There's not going to be a big reason to use accrual. Those kinds of questions that you might have, particularly if you're online reading about this stuff, a lot of things that you're going to be reading about, you want to talk to somebody about because they need to understand your particular situation in order to help you figure out why you would go a certain direction versus not. So anyways, let's get into the question about how do you find a CPA? Again, coming back to your particular situation, Rob, it sounds to me like you know a lot of people. So if I were in your shoes, I would start asking people, because the people that we have found that have been the best for us are people that we've found through networking. Through somebody that we trust already, we've found out who they like and why.
So maybe the answer is just to ask your friends or very successful business friends, hey, who are using a CPA?
I think
Why?
that is absolutely the way that you go about this. And ask 2 or 3 friends, or if you've got somebody that you really, really trust.
What are you looking for? How do you know who a good CPA is?
Well, that actually is a really good question. It leads me to one of the things that I would like to see you guys doing, and that's picking 2 or 3. So, for example, if you're going to do a remodel on your house, you're probably going to get 2 or 3 bids, right? And you're probably going to have these contractors come to your house, and you're going to interview them, and you're going to have them walk the house with you, talk about the project, get their feel for how they would do it, and then you're going to pick one not only based on cost, but based on the rapport that you have with somebody. This is very similar to that. And I think that you want to meet with somebody and just look them in the eye, sit across the table from them and get a feel for how they act, how they respond to your questions. Some of the things that you're going to want to know are they an aggressive CPA or are they more of a conservative CPA? Personally, I'm going to want somebody that's a little more aggressive, because now, that doesn't mean somebody who's willing to do things illegally, but it does mean somebody who's willing to maybe push the envelope a little bit and keep it in that gray area. And again, don't misconstrue that to mean somebody who's willing to do illegal things. That's absolutely not the case. But the reality is, with taxes, for example, there's a lot of gray area. And you can save a lot of money by pushing the envelope just a little bit and taking a little bit of risk in that. And I might get a lot of flack for saying that, but I think a good CPA is going to know how to walk that line really, really well and save you some money doing things legitimately.
I find it really interesting how you're going about explaining to people to find a CPA, because I think there's a shift in mentality, and I don't know at what age or what demographic it is, but as a millennial, when I think about interviewing someone coming in my house, it just sounds like a nightmare. Like I'm just like, I want to pull something up on my phone, read it, to have it tell me what to do and when to input information and when to not input information.
And you know what? You're more than welcome to do that. But you're probably going to end up more often than not in the situation that Rob has found himself in. And that is, he's worked with CPAs that hasn't gone well, and it's cost him money.
What can not go well? I mean, can they just screw up your taxes and you end up paying more? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They can, because they haven't interviewed you well, for example, there might be deductions that you should have taken that they didn't take because they didn't know about it, because they didn't understand your situation very well.
Gotcha.
That's probably one of the prime examples of, you go to CPA number 2 down the road, they look at what you did in the past, and they say, well, why didn't the guy that you're working with now or previously talk to you about this? And this could have cost you quite a bit of money in tax savings, for example.
Gotcha.
And that's something that we run into quite a bit as far as questions that we get. So I understand this is not the millennial way of thinking about these things, but I'm telling you, if you spend a little bit of time with these guys up front and get a feel for how they work, for example, you might get referred to a CPA who doesn't even understand small business very well, but they're willing to take on the business. They might work more in, I don't know, with large corporations, for example. They're going to be knowledgeable, probably really, really smart, but they might not relate well to a small business person. And so I don't know. I just think you should think about those things. But the bottom line is, talk to people that you know and trust and see who they're working with. We love referring people to the people that we use because we've used them for a long time. We know they know what they're doing. And if we have an opportunity to connect them with somebody that we know they can help, we're really, really happy to help them and help the person that we're referring them to.
So let me ask you a question. What would it cost to get a CPA? Are we paying monthly? Are we paying a big upfront fee? Again, I still don't understand the difference of why I would go to a CPA over using something like QuickBooks.
Okay, so the cost, number one, if you do an upfront consultation, it's not going to cost you very much. They're probably going to do it for free.
Okay.
But so to answer your question, why would I use, say...
Well, let's go back. Before we go there,
Okay.
I mean, if there's no upfront cost, are we going to be paying a monthly cost? Because as far as I'm familiar, I mean...
It depends on what you're having them do. I mean, if you're having them do your bookkeeping every month, for example, right now, we've got several businesses, and about 4 or 5 of them, we have bookkeeping done by an outside person. Depends on the complexity of the business. One of them literally costs us $50 a month.
Oh, okay.
For this person to do the bookkeeping every month. Another one costs about $500 a month.
Oh.
It just depends on what you're doing and what the complexity of that work that they're doing for you is. My hunch is that most of these folks could find a good bookkeeper to handle their transactions for them for $100 a month.
Oh, wow.
I think that's really, really worth it personally.
Okay.
As opposed to you getting into all the software that you're referring to that you think is going to make it really, really easy. And so then you're in there putting all that information in, making sure it balances, reconciling your checking account, all that stuff. You're spending a lot of time on that when you didn't need to. Gotcha.
Interesting. I hate finances, so that's why we have Rob here. No, seriously. I like to fly, so if you're like me and you need someone like Rob, then it's time to start looking for a CPA. I don't know what other way to put that. Or just a bookkeeper. So again, a lot of these CPA firms, I mean, you could find small local firms. You don't have to work. In fact, what's going to happen is you're probably going to talk to a CPA, and that might be your contact. And if you have larger issues like, I don't know, bringing on a partner, something like that, how to merge somebody into your business that you think might be a good fit as a partner,
you're going to talk to the CPA about those things. But when it comes to the monthly bookkeeping and taking care of the receipts and the expenditures, to put things simply, they're probably going to have a bookkeeper on staff.
Gotcha.
And that's who's going to help you, and that cost is going to be much lower.
Gotcha.
And so you're going to be working with a team. Just like when somebody works with you, there's probably a team. There's you that flies. There's your editor. Maybe you have a producer, those kinds of things. Obviously, it's the same concept, just from a different perspective.
Awesome.
So talk to people you know. That's the bottom line. I mean, are there networking sites? Are there networking groups that you can go to? There are, but you talk about taking a lot of time. That's going to take a lot more time than just asking people that you know, especially if you've been a consultant. I would think you've got a leg in to a lot of different options.
So, okay. So other than referrals, is there any specific way to know if a CPA is legit or not? Because, like, for example, my dad's a lawyer. So I know there's a website called Martindale Hubble where I can literally look at people's grades as a lawyer, and they're peer reviewed. You can get the information on how many cases they've won, what is their customer satisfaction rating.
Sure.
And you really don't want to work with a lawyer that's below a B rating, or a BV rating is actually what it is. So is there some way to know? I mean, clearly we want to make sure your license is still up to date. But
Right. I mean, you can check the license in the state they work, but there's not anything like that for CPAs. I mean, CPA firms get peer reviews, but not even all CPA firms have to do that, or they only have to do that if they do audits and reviews. So if they just do taxes, they're probably not even getting reviewed. They're not having a peer review done. As far as I know, and it's been a while since I've been in the business of being a CPA, I don't believe that there's an individual peer review of any kind. So, and even some of the sites, I mean, there are sites out there, but I don't think they're utilized very well. And so, I mean, you can Google these sites and Google a CPA, and generally, as far as I'm concerned, what's going to happen with one of those sites is the people that are upset with somebody are the only ones that are going to go post anything on those sites.
So it's like Yelp.
Something like that, I suppose.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
All right.
So I don't know. I mean, I just don't think there's a magic, quick website, and I know that's what a lot of people want. Where can I go to a website, pick the top guy, that's who I'm going to use? It's not that simple. You're going to have to talk to people that know people, and then do your own research and find somebody that you're comfortable with.
Gotcha.
That's how I would approach it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that. I know really that's really useful information, Rob. So if you have a question, go to askdroneu.com. We love those business questions. I know you don't hear from me too much, but that's because I let the pros talk about it. And we all have our own professionals in our own kind of areas of expertise.
Right.
So anyway, we really appreciate having Rob here to give us that financial information. And it's not always the most entertaining to listen to, but it is by far the most informational. So it has the most value.
Hey, somebody asked the question. So
I'll be honest, this is something still every day I shake my head at, because there are so many ways to do it. And you wonder all of the people, because I've met some business owners who I'm like, you own a business? Really?
how do you manage that?
Yeah, because I mean, and you wonder all those people who are out there and all these different these tax havens and tax setups, just the way you set up your business. It seems like there are more ways to do it wrong than there are to do it right.
Well, and the other thing on that, I think, is sometimes we overcomplicate things. And so we try to outsmart ourselves and outsmart the government. When if you just keep things simple and do things the right way, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, and I'm not sure anyone really wants to outsmart the government, because I don't think that's going to end up well for anyone. I don't think anyone wants to really get an audit from the IRS. That can't be fun. And
no, not at all. And by the way, I mean, you've alluded to some of the software that's out there that people can use, and if you have a propensity for that, go for it. I just think that that's probably going to be the exception.
Well, look, would you recommend any certain type of app? Let's talk about that really quick.
Honestly, Paul, I've not dug into all the different apps. There's so much out there nowadays. We use QuickBooks.
Gotcha.
It's the bottom line for us. We've used it for years. It works well. It might be a little bit of overkill for some of these smaller businesses, at least to get started.
I think we're going to have to add to the course list how to use QuickBooks. And then Rob can teach us how to use QuickBooks. I know there's tutorials online, but half the time you don't need to know 90% of the information on there.
It's true.
So I think if you'll make a note on your notes there to write an outline from the last deadline you had. No, I mean the new deadline. Yeah. Anyway, I think that would be really informational. I'm not gonna lie. I actually want to know that.
Oh, okay. Paul.
Well, how much
QuickBooks.
easier would it be if we were out on the field and I could just send you everything, just like done? You know,
It would be really
I don't
cool.
have to, like today, I have to spend time going through my expenses from the last trip and being like, oh, okay, well, here's how much we spent on gas for the boat. And, you know, here's my luggage fees and all that. So
Denied. Denied.
So anyway, my point is that it, you know, I think apps can save us time, and I think in today's day and age where time is so precious, I think it's really important to utilize things like Expensify, you know, for reporting. And I'm not good at that, which is going to change because I want to be better. Anyway, guys, if you have a question, go to askdroneu.com, upload that question. We would really like to hear from you. Again, if you would like a handy-dandy SD card case from Go Professional Cases, you got to ask a video question in an accent, in a costume, and we will send you a very expensive SD card case.
That's right.
But I call it my gold. I really do. I call it my gold because it's waterproof. That's where all my footage is. And if you know, you're like me and you film, it really is your gold.
Absolutely.
Because if you lose it, it is a headache. And I've
Well-
dropped mine out of a boat before. I've dropped it out of many things. Actually, a moving car one time. So
I mean, the way that you store these SD cards is probably one of the more important decisions that you can make, right?
are you sure it's not the accounting?
I don't know. It's probably not the accounting.
Oh, that's right. You do that.
This podcast notwithstanding, but all the money's in that footage.
It's true. It's true. Anyway, I just can't wait to see your questions, so send them in. Anyway, that's going to do it for us today. My name is Paul.
I'm Rob.
This is Ask DroneU.
We believe that videos, images, words, and sounds have the absolute power to inform, inspire, and entertain. We reject indecision, confusion, and vanity, for they work against the community. We are united under the virtues of safety and knowledge. We are a training community of learners and teachers who encourage and energize each other to achieve greatness. We are pilots, videographers, photographers, freelancers, business owners, enthusiasts, experts, and apprentices. We are creators. We are the DroneU.